Well, here we are. Episode 273, the firstborn. I feel like we're saying farewell to the kids. We did Wesley in the last episode, and this is Alexander in this episode. Where is. Lord. So, excuse me a second. There's no special editing here. So, anyways, I hope you have followed me all the way through. This will be our 173rd episode. They did start with 101, so that's why. And I hope you will continue with me through the end of the series. And someone suggested that I should be doing Deep Space Nine before I do Voyager. Unfortunately, I do not own Deep Space Nine CDs or DVDs, should I say. So we're going to go into Voyager. I may wait a week or two. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. May just leave If Thens on Fridays for a while and have, because there's 2 shows on Friday. Actually, 3 shows for a while. I'm kind of running out of shorts right now, but we'll see what happens. So there's no captain's overview this episode. We just immediately start the show. So let's see if I can do this without screwing up. I've been screwing up the past couple of weeks. So let's see what happens. Okay, there was no group shot, so I couldn't give you a group shot. I wanted to give you a group shot. But Worf is practicing some kind of speech, and he's in full ceremonial gear here. And Alexander comes in, him and his friend are having, they're throwing the ball at each other, and the ball explodes with water. And so that's what's going on here. He wanted to meet with Alexander after school. Alexander was having fun with his friends and forgot. And there's something very important I wanted to discuss with you concerning your future. As time passes, a boy inevitably becomes a man, but what is not inevitable is what a man becomes, a warrior. The path of a warrior begins with the first rite of ascension. And he's explaining all this stuff to Alexander about becoming a Klingon, and Alexander says, Mother says I didn't have to do any of this Klingon stuff if I didn't want. It's your decision. Well, I don't want to do it. So Alexander makes it clear that he doesn't want to do it. So then Picard is having a meeting with Riker, Data, and Worf. And they're talking about their rendezvous with the Kearsarge in another 4 days. Will we be holding position here? Yes, and it would seem we're in relatively quiet time. I shall use this opportunity to visit the Hetarian system. There are some ancient ruins that are just being excavated. The delay will make it possible for Stellar Dynamics to complete their study of the Vonda Nebula, Data says. I'll let them know they can have more access to the lateral sensor grid. Picard said we could use time to recalibrate the weapon away, targeting Mr. Worf. Yeah, he was adrift. He was elsewhere in his thoughts. I can't think of the word right now. But he was in another world, another place. He was just, his thoughts were wandering. He wasn't with the meaning. So everybody leaves, and Picard confronts him, and Picard says, I noticed you were distracted. You weren't giving your usual input to the meeting. And Worf says that he's having trouble with Alexander. He has made it clear he does not wish to participate in the first rite of ascension. I see, says Picard. I have tried to tell him that it's an important part of a young Klingon's life, but he does not understand. but he's had so little opportunity to spend time with Klingons. You know, the festival of Kobat is tomorrow. If he could take part in that, I'm sure he would be more fully appreciate what a rich culture heritage he comes from. There is a Kling outpost on Manga 4. I'm sure they'll be celebrating the festival. Yes, but the outpost is on the other side of the Vadre Nebula. It would take 3 days to get there. The Enterprise could be there in a fraction of time and still be back in time to rendezvous with the ship. Captain, I cannot ask this of you. Uh, Mr. Worf, Stellar Dynamics would like nothing better than a trip around the nebula. So, there you go. So this may take a couple of scenes here, but I just thought I'd show this one. They go to the planet, and it's Geordi, Worf, and Dr. Crusher. They're watching this act, play, whatever you want to call it, go on. So then Alexander wants a chance at playing too. So then Alexander's been away for a while, and he's been hanging out with a couple of kids from the planet, and he says he needs money. And he says, the man over there says he's got Molar's head in the box, but he wants a few before he'll show it. And Worf says that's impossible. The real Molar died centuries ago. I know, it's mummified. He offered to show us for 50 darsecs. He's trying to take your money. Please, Father, he's waiting. No, it's late. We should go home. But, Alexander, that is enough. Come, it's time to go. I have to say goodbye to my friends. You can say goodbye tomorrow. We're coming back if you want to. And he meets up with one of the guys, and the guy shows him a ring, and he says that he's there to protect Worf. We'll see what happens. So then Worf is in with Riker, and there's another guy in the room with them, and Worf is telling him that an advisor so trusted that it's become part of a family. Do you have any idea who's behind this attack? It's a Klingon matter. It's not your concern, the other guy says. One of my officers was almost killed. That makes it my concern. Recently, rumors began to circulate in the home world that an assassination attempt was going to be made on the family member of Mog. Kern sent me here to make sure nothing happened to Worf. Why didn't you warn me before the attack was made? I tried to contact him over space. I was told he was not aboard. I decided to beam directly to the surface. Why didn't you let us know? Forgive me for being blunt, Commander, but when it comes to protecting the house to which I pledge my life, I trust no one. Let's see. Wait a second so we can do this. Okay, so there's the guy that's talking over there. So, they talk about the attempt. Oh, I had a question for all you Star Trek. Why isn't Picard in on this meeting? I was just wondering. So then, Ketmar and Worf are in his quarters. And Ketmar is, why did you treat Commander Riker so disrespectfully? You were rude. Ketmar says, I may have been rude by human standards. I meant no disrespect. What is the matter, Worf? Have you been living so long among humans that you have forgotten how Klingons behave? I have not forgotten. I am merely stating that our ways are different than their ways are different than ours. I trust you've made your son aware of that fact as well. Yes, of course I have. Good, because someday Alexander may be called upon to lead the House of Mog. Kern has no male heir. He wants to make sure that Alexander is preparing himself. Does my brother doubt my ability to raise my son as a Klingon? No, but you are alone among humans. It's not easy to keep our ways. Excuse me, and Alexander wants no part of it. So he's got a situation here. If Alexander doesn't want to do it, he shouldn't make the kid do it. Will he talk the kid into it? So then Ketmar has a talk with Alexander and tries to talk him into it. Um, they're talking about his mother, and he asks him if he's ever been to the homeworld, and Alexander says no. I think you would like it there. At your uncle's house, there is a lake you can swim in. It's so clear you can see all the way to the bottom. Really? You have cousins there. They want to meet you. I don't know. I understand you're afraid. You don't know whether the home world is safe. Yes. What happened today on the planet is frightening. You are still trouble. I thought they were going to kill my father. You must have wanted to help us fight them off. I don't know what to do. If you work hard, you'll become a warrior, a Klingon warrior, and you will always feel safe because you know how to defend yourself. I'll tell you something else. If anyone ever tries to hurt your father again, you'll be able to fight it aside and make sure nothing happens to him. Talk about blackmail. So then we're on the bridge, and it's Riker and Ketmar, and Worf is there too with Data. And Data is saying there's no mention of the Duras sisters after their departure from Deep Space Nine. Did I tell you as much? Riker says, have you been able to contact Deep Space Nine? I am patched through right now, sir. On screen. And he talks to Quark. Of all the people from Deep Space Nine, he talks to Quark. The guy that owns the bar, he talks to Quark. And Quark says, I explained that my brother has misplaced the key to the safe. Besides, those vouchers I gave you are every bit as good as Latinum. Not exactly. You can spend Latinum just about everywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar. Is that what this is about? You're on your way and you're calling to reserve a holosuite program? Actually, I'm hoping you would help me with something else. What would that be? I'm looking for some Klingon friends of mine, the Duras sisters. Yes, big talk, big tips. Do you know where I can find them? I did hear a rumor, actually. What kind of rumor? I don't know. I'm sure it was told to me in confidence. How much does your confidence cost, Quirk? Let's see if we can get Quirk. Okay, that took a few tries. That's scary. So he's talking to Quark, and he says they're they they learned of a magnesium deposit on Callus system. It belongs to Pallets, but those fools don't even know it's there. Our friends tried to get it. So he's gonna send them money and pay for the whatever information he gave them. Okay, so then the three of them spend time on the holodeck, doing a bunch of Klingon stuff. See, how long does it? So then they go to the planet, and it looks like Data, Geordi, and Worf beam down, and they're all standing there looking at this guy. He says, he crashed on the planet. Then you are denying involvement in the illegal mining activities? Mining? So that what's all this equipment is here for? We are looking for two Klingon women, sisters. Lusa and Bito, do you know where they are? Actually, we were hoping that you did. Maybe I do. Would you be willing to share your information with us? My personal code of honor conduct prohibits sharing, but I'd consider a trade. Does your personal code of conduct tell you that when you're stranded on a planet with no way off? You have a point. We could certainly provide passage off this planet in exchange for information. Could you perhaps fail to tell the Patels that they were mining their ore? Don't push your luck. But if you get us to Dura Sisters, I'll see what I can do. The Dura Sisters, they're magnificent, are they? They're selling ore. Okay. No one answers questions on this planet. So then we're in 10 forward, and Ketmar and Worf talk about Alexander and teaching Alexander Klingon ways. So then they give Alexander a long lesson on Klingon ways. And Alexander doesn't want to leave the Enterprise. He wants to stay with his friends in school. like all kids would. Okay, so then we're back on the bridge, and they've caught up with a vessel near the third planet, and it has magnesite on it. And Riker says, we're too late. The sisters have already been here. And Troy says, I doubt the Uridian are going to be forthcoming about where the sisters might have went, but they're going to give it a try. So they talk to this guy about the possible location of the sisters. Well, then they talk to the sisters. Um, and they talk about the fact that they were possibly involved in an assassination attempt. And they say they've heard nothing about it. And they're upset it didn't succeed, but they don't have anything to do with it. But Riker says we have evidence that you're behind it, and they're gonna come over and check out this evidence. Those do not look like the original actresses that played these two sisters. I remember those women were bigger, much bigger in height and width. They had much more bulk on them, muscle spans. And so they show them their evidence. And she says, someone must have given it to the assassin to implicate us. Why would someone do that? In order to tarnish our good name. You cannot tarnish a rusted blade. And they do some Klingon stuff. Mr. Worf, you said there was other evidence that they were involved. Yes, on the homeworld. We'll set a course. I want this thing cleared up. I'll send you a message to Kern. He may wish to return the homeworld as well. And they're like, what? These markings represent the members of our house. This symbol represents our father, myself, my sister, and this represents their son. I was not aware you had a son. I do not, but I am with child. She found out only a few days ago and told no one but me. How can these markings be here? Where did this come from? I will speak with Ketmar, Worf says. So Ketmar tries to kill Alexander, and Worf stops him. And says, look at me or I will kill you. Look at me. When we first met, you said I looked familiar. I could have seen you on the whole world. No, look closely. I am your son, Ketmar says. If you are Alexander, you remember your mother's last words before she died. Ketmar says, I was 3 years old. She was dying when we found her. We barely managed to whisper my name, and then she took my hand and placed it in yours. Then she died. And then you howled in rage and looked upon her, upon death, and always to remember I was always have. How have you done this? How have you come to this time? So, he's saying he has time traveled back in time, that he is Alexander grown up. He tells, I met a man in the Camber system. He gave me a chance to change the past. He had the ability to send me here to this time. And you came here in order to end your own life? I was hoping that I would not have to, that I could change things, that I could change myself. But I could not, and now everything is going to turn out like it did before. I cannot let that happen. But why? What is to happen? You will be killed because I was naive, too weak to be able to protect you. I do not believe that. I was there. I saw you murdered. I was to blame. You must not blame yourself. You do not understand. I did not become a warrior. I was a diplomat, a peacemaker. When it came time to lead our family, I thought I could single-handedly end the fighting between the great houses. I publicly announced that the House of Mog would be the first to end the feuding, that there would be no more retribution, no more revenge. You tried to warn me. You tried to tell me that I should not overshow weakness, but I thought you were a foolish old man. I told you you were a relic from an earlier time and that a new era of peace was at hand. But you were right. My enemies saw my weakness and moved against me. Unless I stop it right now, that boy will see his father killed on the floor of the council chamber. That is why you wanted to take Alexander away, turn him into a warrior. I staged the assassin attempt to try and frighten him, to make him believe that he must follow the ways of the warrior. If I had listened to you, if I had become the warrior that you wanted me to come, you would have not have died in my arms. So now that Worf knows what's going on, maybe he can change a little of it. Although we know, who knows when this will happen, because Worf is he's on Picard. So we know he's still alive way, 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 way in the future. And there was no mention of Alexander in Picard series that I remember anyway. So Worf takes him back to the holodeck. Is going to teach him a few things. Maybe he can still be a diplomat, but maybe he can also defend himself. And that's where Firstborn ends. So I hope you will tune into me next week when we go through Bloodlines. And I hope you have a good day. Have a good one.